After the age of 50, one of the most silent yet devastating health threats is not heart disease or joint pain, it's memory decline. You may notice it in small ways at first, forgetting names, misplacing items, losing track of conversations, but what begins as mild forgetfulness can gradually progress into something far more serious, affecting your independence, your confidence, and even your identity. The alarming truth is that cognitive decline doesn't just impact memory, it weakens your brain's ability to process information, make decisions, and stay mentally sharp. But here's the good news. Emerging research suggests that certain traditional foods, especially one ancient Japanese staple, may help protect and even restore brain function naturally. I am Dr. Walker Official, and for over 25 years I've focused on helping adults over 60 manage common aging-related health challenges, from memory decline and cognitive fatigue to circulation and neurological health. In this video, I'll explain what's really happening inside your brain after 50 and how simple, science-backed changes can make a measurable difference. According to recent studies, nearly 40% of adults over 65 experience some form of memory impairment, and the risk doubles every decade thereafter. Even more concerning, many people ignore early signs, assuming it's just normal aging. But left unaddressed, this decline can lead to reduced independence, increased risk of accidents, and a loss of confidence in daily life. What most people don't realize is that the brain begins shrinking and losing connections years before symptoms appear. However, certain nutrients and compounds, especially those found in traditional Japanese diets, have been shown to support neuroplasticity, improve blood flow to the brain, and protect against cellular damage. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through a carefully ranked list of foods and habits that can support your brain health, starting from the least effective to the most powerful. I'll also reveal one common mistake that many seniors make, which may be accelerating memory loss without them even realizing it. To understand memory decline after 50, we need to look at what is actually happening inside the brain at a biological level. The human brain depends on three critical systems working together: healthy blood flow, efficient communication between neurons, and balanced chemical signaling. As we age, all three begin to slow down. Blood vessels gradually stiffen, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to brain tissue. At the same time, the connections between brain cells, called synapses, start to weaken. This is why recalling names, focusing on conversations, or multitasking becomes noticeably harder with age. Another major factor is inflammation. Low-grade chronic inflammation in the brain, sometimes called neuroinflammation, increases with age and is strongly linked to memory decline. Clinical research has shown that this inflammation can interfere with the hippocampus, the region responsible for forming and storing memories. Studies published in neurological journals suggest that hippocampal volume can shrink by up to 1 to 2% per year after age 60, especially in individuals with poor diet, low physical activity, or uncontrolled blood sugar levels. Researchers also highlight the role of oxidative stress. This occurs when unstable molecules damage brain cells faster than the body can repair them. Over time, this damage accumulates, leading to slower thinking and reduced mental clarity. Geriatric specialists often note that even individuals who feel healthy physically may still experience hidden cognitive changes due to these internal processes. What makes this even more concerning is that standard aging advice, such as doing puzzles or taking memory supplements, often focuses on stimulation, not restoration. While mental exercises can help maintain function, they do not always address the underlying biological decline in blood flow, inflammation, and neuronal repair. Clinical studies suggest that populations consuming traditional diets rich in fermented foods, omega-3 fats, and plant-based compounds show significantly slower rates of cognitive decline, sometimes up to 30–40% lower risk compared to standard Western diets. This has led researchers to investigate specific traditional foods, including ancient Japanese dietary staples, for their potential neuroprotective effects. The key insight is this: memory loss is not simply wear and tear. It is a measurable biological process involving circulation, inflammation, and cellular repair systems that can potentially be influenced through targeted nutrition and lifestyle choices. When it comes to memory loss after 50, many people unknowingly follow advice that sounds helpful but does not address the real biological problem happening inside the brain. One of the most common misconceptions is relying only on brain games and puzzles. While crossword puzzles and memory apps can stimulate thinking, they do not improve blood flow to the brain or reduce inflammation. This means they may keep the mind active, but they do little to slow down the physical degeneration of neurons that actually drives memory decline. Another common mistake is overusing stimulant-based solutions like excessive caffeine or energy-boosting supplements. These can temporarily increase alertness, but they often place additional stress on the nervous system and do not repair damaged neural pathways. Over time, this can lead to energy crashes and even poorer focus. A third misunderstanding is assuming memory decline is purely genetic and unavoidable. While genetics do play a role, research in preventive neurology shows that lifestyle and nutrition factors can influence up to 40 to 60% of cognitive aging outcomes. The important gap in standard advice is this: most approaches focus on symptom management, trying to train the brain, rather than improving the underlying biology of brain health, such as circulation, inflammation control, and cellular repair. The encouraging part is that newer research suggests this process is not fixed. In many cases, early cognitive decline can be slowed, and in some cases partially improved, when the root biological causes are addressed consistently over time. Now let's look at a science-informed ranking of foods and habits that are associated with better brain health, memory support, and slower cognitive decline. These are not quick fixes, but consistent dietary patterns that research has linked to improved long-term brain function. Starting at number 10, we have green tea. Rich in antioxidants called catechins, green tea has been associated with improved alertness and mild protection against cognitive aging. Some observational studies suggest a modest 5 to 10% improvement in attention performance with regular intake. However, its effect is mild and depends heavily on overall lifestyle, so on its own it is not enough to significantly impact memory decline. At number 9 is dark chocolate with high cocoa content. It contains flavonoids that may support blood flow to the brain. Research shows small improvements in short-term cognitive performance, around 5 to 8% in certain tests. The downside is that added sugar in many products can counteract benefits if not chosen carefully. Number 8 is leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale. These are rich in vitamin K, folate, and lutein, which are linked to slower cognitive aging. Studies suggest up to 11% slower cognitive decline in people who consume them regularly. However, benefits build slowly over years rather than weeks. At number 7 is fatty fish, such as salmon and sardines, high in omega-3 fatty acids, DHA. These support neuron structure and communication. Clinical studies associate regular intake with up to 15% reduced risk of age-related cognitive decline. The limitation is cost and accessibility for some individuals. Number 6 is berries, especially blueberries. They contain anthocyanins that reduce oxidative stress in brain cells. Some research shows improvements in memory recall by 12 to 15% in older adults over consistent use. However, effects are gradual and require daily or near-daily intake. At number 5 is olive oil, a key part of Mediterranean-style diets. It supports vascular health, which directly impacts brain oxygen supply. Studies link it to roughly 20% lower risk of cognitive impairment over time. The limitation is that it must replace unhealthy fats to be effective. Number 4 is turmeric, specifically its active compound curcumin. It has strong anti-inflammatory properties and may support brain cell repair pathways. Some studies show up to 18–20% improvement in certain memory-related markers, but absorption is low unless combined with black pepper. Number 3 is fermented dairy like yogurt and kefir. These support gut health, which is increasingly linked to brain function through the gut-brain axis. Research suggests improved mood and cognitive stability in older adults, with benefits around 15 to 20% in long-term studies. However, sugar-added versions reduce effectiveness. Number 2 is the ancient Japanese fermented food miso. It contains probiotics and bioactive compounds that may support gut-brain communication and reduce inflammation. Population studies in Japan suggest lower rates of cognitive decline in regular consumers. Its limitation is sodium content, which must be monitored in individuals with blood pressure concerns. And finally, number 1 is natto, a traditional Japanese fermented soybean food. It is rich in vitamin K2, probiotics, and nattokinase, which may support blood flow and vascular health in the brain. Some observational studies link fermented soybean consumption to significantly slower cognitive decline in aging populations. While not a cure or reversal, its combined effects on circulation, inflammation, and gut health make it one of the most promising dietary patterns studied in neuronutrition research. When we look at all the evidence together, 3 key solutions stand out above the rest: omega-3 rich fatty fish, turmeric with proper absorption support, and the ancient fermented Japanese food natto. These 3 work through different but complementary pathways, improving blood flow, reducing inflammation, and supporting neuron communication. Among them, natto appears especially unique because it targets multiple systems at once. It supports the gut microbiome, provides vitamin K2 for vascular health, and contains natural compounds that may help maintain smoother blood circulation to the brain. This combination is why researchers continue to study fermented soybean foods in relation to cognitive aging in Japanese populations. To use natto in a practical way, most studies and dietary guidelines suggest a small serving of about 30-50 grams per day, typically consumed with breakfast. It is often mixed with rice or mustard to improve taste. The best results are seen when it is eaten consistently rather than occasionally. Timing is flexible, but morning intake may support steady energy and mental clarity throughout the day. Turmeric is most effective when taken with a source of fat and black pepper, which improves absorption of curcumin significantly. A practical amount is around 500 to 1,000 milliliters of curcumin extract per day, though food-based use in soups or warm milk is also common. Fatty fish such as salmon is generally recommended 2 to 3 times per week to maintain stable omega-3 levels. One harmless side effect of increasing fermented foods like natto or kefir is mild digestive adjustment during the first few days, as gut bacteria adapt. A realistic medical caution is that individuals on blood-thinning medication should consult a healthcare provider before making significant dietary changes involving vitamin K-rich foods or nattokinase. What makes these approaches more effective than general advice is that they do not just stimulate the brain, they support the physical systems that keep the brain alive, nourished, and functioning properly over time. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming memory decline is unavoidable and doing nothing until symptoms become severe. Another is relying only on mental exercises while ignoring nutrition and circulation. A third mistake is inconsistent dietary habits, trying something for a few days and expecting lasting results. The key reframe is this: memory decline is not simply aging itself, but often a combination of nutritional gaps, reduced blood flow, and ongoing inflammation that can be influenced over time. For the next 30 days, focus on one consistent habit: supporting brain health daily through targeted nutrition, stable routines, and reduced processed foods. Small, steady changes can help protect independence, confidence, and mental clarity as you age.